At Granger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry, with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call, clickgranger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Happy Hour Weekly. I am your host, Chris Wright. This episode is the holiday version. This is your Thanksgiving version. We'll do a Christmas version too, but today we want to specifically talk about the holidays in general. Because around this time of the year, there's a lot of holiday stress. We're going to talk about how to maybe eliminate some of that, or let's say manage it. You can't totally eliminate it. And we're also going to talk about a big topic that comes up around this time of year. It's called being house poor. And that's kind of our real estate portion. But if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe and hit that like button. But also, if you're listening to it on your podcast, give me 5 stars, specifically on Apple Podcasts. But any podcast platform, make sure that we kick those algorithms up. Hey, listen, even if you don't like what I do or you think, he's a joke, give me 5 stars for effort. Because I always try and be honest with you. I try and put myself out there on Front Street. I try and be vulnerable with you and tell the truth. So give me 5 stars for doing that. But other than that, that's our episode today. So make sure that you punch those likes, subscribes, and 5 stars. We'll be right back. This is the Real Estate Happy Hour, and I'm your host, Chris Wright. It's a fun place where we talk real estate, pop culture, and what's trending. Hey, I might even give you some good advice, so grab yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and take a listen. Unless you're driving, of course. I'll see you guys on the other side. So I truly believe that how you feel about the holiday season is directly related to how you were raised, what your childhood was like during the Christmas and Thanksgiving time of year. If you've listened to some of my previous podcasts and episodes, you'll know that I grew up kind of in an unstable environment. And financially, we were lacking, we were wanting. We didn't have a lot of money. I didn't know where I was going to be from Christmas to Christmas. I could be in a friend's house. I could be with an aunt or an uncle. I could be with a sibling. I just never knew where I was going to live holiday to holiday. I also didn't know what I was going to get. I think of all of my childhood, I can remember 2 Christmases that seemed somewhat normal, where there was gifts around the Christmas tree. We always ate. Eating wasn't a problem. I always had a house to go to eat. But far as the gift giving, I didn't know what that was going to look like from year to year. When I was really, really young, I was able to make a Christmas list, and I did get some of the gifts that were on the list. But I can only really remember 2. Other than that, the holidays were a crapshoot for me, and I'm specifically talking about Christmas Day. As far as Thanksgiving goes, again, it was the same. I didn't know what house I was going to be at, whether I was going to be on my own, whether I was going to be at, even as a young teenager, my girlfriend's family or a sibling's house. I just did not know. So as an adult, that brought some very unhealthy feelings about Christmas and Thanksgiving and the holiday season. If you've ever heard of seasonal depression, it doesn't help that there's no sunshine, and people do suffer from that. It's kind of, for some, it's a depressing time of the year. So not everybody are as cheerful or as joyous as you should be around the holiday season. And one of the things that we've done as a society is we've commercialized the holiday season, parades and shopping and all the gift giving. And you know what? If you don't have a lot of money or you've never had the means, then none of that means nothing to you. In fact, it adds a weight on your shoulder that you are trying to keep up with the Joneses or the neighbors or the friends and start spending money you don't have on the holiday season. And that can be very stressful. So we're going to talk a little bit about trying to manage some of that stress in this episode. Like I said, I don't remember a lot of great years. Now, my wife, on the other hand, conversely speaking, loves the holidays. As soon as the kids go back to school, she's ready for fall. She's ready to start decorating from Halloween to Thanksgiving. We put up our trees right after Halloween, Christmas lights around the house. And she has basically managed my thoughts and how I feel about Christmas because we have a family of our own and we want our children to have healthy holidays. I don't want to make the mistake, though, of having them carry the stress of the holidays into their families and their lives later on. Even though we have done things like we made sure that they have a lot on the holidays during Christmas, and they always have healthy Thanksgivings as well. But just a point of advice to you is to be honest with your children about your financial situation. Be honest with them about what you guys can afford as a family and try and focus on other things. One of the things we used to do, and we haven't gone to church a lot since the pandemic. We used to go all the time, but we particularly liked the candle lighting ceremony the night on Christmas Eve. And that kind of brought back some of the true meanings of Christmas. And if you're not a Christian and you don't celebrate Christmas, then whatever you celebrate. I know even my Jewish friends, they have gift-giving days and dinners and stuff. If you're Muslim, and I know there's things around December, including Ramadan, that you celebrate as well. So I don't want to tie this specifically to Christmas as much as I want to tie it to the holiday season. A lot of religions have, unless you're Jehovah's Witness, around this time of year, it brings a lot of stress. And so I want to tie it to that. But be honest with your family, your kids, about your means and what you're able to do. Because it can be very stressful if you try to pretend that you have more than you actually have. And your kids are expecting to keep up with their other friends at school and other places like that. So make sure that you talk about with your kids. I tell my kids, make a Christmas list, and you may only get 3 to 4 things on that list. So yeah, the more the better, because it helps my wife and I get prepared for that. So make sure that you are talking to your kids about what you're really realistically able to do for the holiday season. All right, so make sure you do that. Say no. Don't be afraid to say no to commitments. You get all these people having holiday parties. And every time there's a holiday party, there's a secret Santa or there's some type of gift that you need to bring. If you don't have the means to do that, don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to say, I'm going to pass on this one. Because financially, we try and keep up. So we tend to just say yes to everything. Don't go to a lot of different holiday parties of friends, because every time you go to a holiday party, you think that you have to take a gift or take a bottle of something or wrap some food. And it just really takes away from your family. So don't be afraid to say no and not commit to so many events during the holiday season. Plan your spending. Some people start holiday shopping or Christmas shopping as early as January. What happens is a lot of stores have after Christmas sales, and they'll start, all the decorations will go on sale. And so people will buy decorations in January or right after the holiday season. But also people will Christmas shop because stores, their inventories are like, they're heavy. They have so much stuff. And it's a good time to go to those discount racks, the end caps at places like Target and Walmart, and just stock up and put it in storage bins and get, prepare for the next year. So some people I've talked to, they said, my Christmas shopping was over in June. And that is awesome if you can do that. You can get toys on sale. You can get colognes and perfumes and makeup kits on all that stuff that you buy. You can buy it early, so you're not spending holiday prices at the store. You can also create relaxing surroundings. Make sure that you relax around the holiday seasons. Binge watch a little TV, maybe more than you used to. Listen to Christmas or holiday music. Listen to classical music. Meditate. Just get yourself in a state of mind to eliminate or manage some of that stress. Go outside. Get some of that sunshine. Do things that you typically wouldn't do on a daily basis in the summer. It's time to relax and get your mind right for the holiday season. You want to maintain healthy habits. One of the things we tend to do during the holiday season is overeat, and overdrink. And make sure that you are maintaining healthy habits. Go on walks. Enjoy the fall, fresh air. Enjoy that, looking at the foliage on the trees. Drink a little bit less, smoke less if you smoke. And just typically watch the foods that you eat, because there is everything from those meat platters or, the Hickory Farms type stuff with the sausages and cheeses and all that stuff. And then you eat over and over and over again between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Just eat. And by the time January comes, you've gained 5 pounds. So you make sure that you maintain healthy habits. Share feelings. It's a good time for families to talk and tell stories and visit one another. I called my brother the other day. He lives in North Carolina. We FaceTimed, caught up a little bit. Call family that you haven't talked to in a while. Call friends, reconnect with people. Go into the new year rekindling some of those relationships. Definitely do that. Big thing you want to do is respect each other's differences. Families, we just talked about how I felt about the holidays, how my wife felt about the holidays, how others feel about the holidays. Don't tell people, oh, come on, you're being a Grinch or you're being a Scrooge. Sometimes people have a reason for that. So make sure that you respect each other's differences and how they feel about the holidays, especially in the workplace. You want to make sure you do that. The other big thing is be realistic. You want to be very realistic about your means, what you can afford and what you can do. And that's including your time. If you are one who's working overtime, maybe you work 2 or 3 jobs, don't let others make you feel bad about that. You are doing what you can within your means to enjoy the holidays. And you also need that time for relaxation and meditation and you, okay? So make sure that you are realistic with yourself and be realistic with others about what you can do. The more realistic you are, the more you can manage holiday stress. And the other big thing is take a break. Give yourself some grace. Take a nap. Go on, some short walks. Read a book. Listen to a podcast. Listen to this podcast. Watch a funny movie. But you need to stretch out horizontally, laugh a little bit, and just take a load off. And you want to do that throughout the holiday season. Whenever you feel that anxiety building up, whenever you feel that stress building up, make sure that you take some time for yourself. So those are some of the ways I want you to manage this time of year. It's not easy. And like I said, I've had to teach myself how to manage the stress that I get come holiday time. All right, I'll be right back, guys. Thanks.
At Granger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
All right. So, in the spirit of the real estate happy hour, I always want to talk about drinking a little bit, okay? Responsibly. What are some of your favorite drinks around the holidays? I'm going to tell you a funny story. I love eggnog, and I think that, but I can't drink it because TMI, I'm lactose intolerant. And so eggnog doesn't sit with me well, but I loved it. And my neighbor came over and said, let's do eggnog one Christmas. This was one Christmas. And oh my God, that was on Christmas Eve, Christmas morning. You know, when the kids get up early, 5:30, 6 o'clock, they're ready to rip open gifts and be cheerful and spread the holiday cheer. My stomach was in knots, man. I couldn't move. I felt like I was having a baby and it was just horrible. And I kind of almost ruined their morning. I know we were prepared to go over to a friend's house for the holidays, and I was just in fetal position. I was just balled up because eggnog had done a number on me. So no more eggnog for me. My wife always laughs at that. And it was so funny because that was so many years ago, probably 15 years ago, or 10 to 12 years ago. And my family still tease me about the eggnog situation. So I stay away from that. But what are some of your favorite drinks around the holidays? Go ahead and throw those in the comments. I'd love to hear about them. What's my favorite food during the holidays? I love stuffing, or do you call it dressing? I think when it's stuffing, if it goes inside the turkey, but if it's in a pan outside of the turkey, then it's called dressing. That's like my favorite food with gravy. Love that. And tell me if you do anything unique with food around the holiday season. Do you fry a turkey? Do you cook a prime rib? People like to be a little different with foods come holiday season. So do you do ham on Christmas and turkey on Thanksgiving? Do you do steaks? Do you go out to eat? Some people go out to eat. All types of restaurants have holiday specials where they have like family portions. So I'd love to know what you do right around the holiday season. Think about that. Put that in the comments. I'll be right back, guys.
Selling your car to Carvana is as easy as...
As easy as pie?
Sure. All you have to do is enter your license plate or VIN.
As easy as a stroll in the park.
Okay, then just answer a few questions and you'll get a real offer in seconds.
As easy as singing.
Why not? Schedule a pickup or drop off and Carvana will pay you that amount right on the spot.
As easy as playing guitar.
Actually, I find that kind of difficult. But selling your car to Carvana is as easy as...
Can be.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get an instant offer today.
All right, so we are going to talk about a real estate topic because this is the real estate happy hour. So we're going to talk about something that's really, really important, and it's called being house poor. And a lot of my customers will tell me, I don't want to be house poor. Well, sometimes once you've made the decision to buy a house, you've already put yourself in house poor scenario, right? Because you didn't really plan not to be house poor. You were just very excited when you fixed everything in your finances and now you were able to buy a house. What is it? So house poor, basically, it kind of describes a situation in which, you'll spend a significant portion of your income on buying a house. And like there's little left over for, other needs, such as saving for retirement or paying your debt, paying your credit cards, or enjoying leisurely activities, or responding to like unexpected financial setbacks. And this will lead to, financial strain, stress, and of course, a reduced quality of life. So before you even think about buying a house, make sure you do a budget and sit down and figure out with you and your significant other. If that's the case, if you're a single person, then figure out your budget and determine, after I pay my bills and after I put some money aside for savings, and I love to vacation, if that's you, make sure you don't stop doing the things that you love to do just because you want to buy a house. And then what's left over after all of that is how much you can afford to pay monthly for a house. And what people typically do is they do it the other way around. They figure out, let me see how much I can afford monthly to buy a house, and then what's ever left over, I'll figure it out. You don't want to do it that way, because you're not going to be able to enjoy the experience of owning a house. Here's a sign that you're house poor. When your housing costs, meaning your mortgage, your taxes, insurance, utilities, and maintenance, exceeds 35% of your income. Use that number. So the house itself should probably be 25% of your income or less. And the other 10% should be, maintenance costs and insurance and taxes and things like that, if your taxes and insurance aren't in escrow. But just to make sure that you don't exceed that 35% of your income. If you have difficulty like making ends meet, or you have to rely on credit cards, you are house poor. If you are concerned mid-month that I don't know how I'm going to make it to the end of the month, or if you have to work a part-time job or something like that to make those ends meet, you're probably house poor. All right. If you don't have an emergency fund, and I've talked about that in prior episodes, if you don't have an emergency fund, or you haven't saved anything for retirement or any of your long-term goals, you, my friend, are house poor. All right. If you have to constantly postpone or cancel activities, or you can't purchase something that you want to purchase, or you can't get ready for the holidays because you're so busy throwing all your money into the house or paying your mortgage, you're probably house poor. So home ownership can, cause significant stress and anxiety, and I don't want you to be that way. So do I talk to my customers about being house poor? I absolutely do. I've talked to some of my customers who said, I have $14,000 saved, and they're going to take that whole $14,000 and put that down as a down payment and closing costs. And I try and warn them against that. Like, don't do that. How about using 60% of it or 70% of it? And if you can't do that, then you're probably not ready to buy a house. Don't overestimate, some people overestimate their income. Well, I'm going to get a raise next year, or I'm planning on getting another job in a few months. So they'll buy a house not based on their current situation, but based on a future situation. But tomorrow's never promised, right? So it's very easy to get carried away, with the excitement of buying a home and overestimating your ability to afford it. But you also have to factor in expenses like property taxes, I just talked about, the insurance, utilities, maintenance. And if you have a homeowners association, otherwise known as an HOA, that's a monthly cost that you might not have budgeted. So you want to make sure that you have done that well. There's this emotional attachment to buying a specific property that you want, as opposed to buying something that you can afford. So you'll become emotionally attached as you're going out and you're looking at homes. Oh, I love this house. I love this house. Ooh, a fireplace. Oh, there's a reading area or a cubby hole. Whatever it is, you get this emotional attachment to it. But you overlook the affordability. You love the neighborhood. You love, the walking streets or sidewalks, and you just want to live in that neighborhood, but you really can't afford it. So it's important to make a rational decision based on your financial capacity, not just an emotional desire. Because purchasing a home beyond your means and stretching your finances to the limit to buy a more expensive home can lead to house poorness. So it's better to start with a more modest home, that suits your budget, and upgrade. You can upgrade later when your financial situation improves. Or what if you buy the size home that you want? There might be an update or something you need to update. Old kitchen, old cabinets, old carpet on the floor. And then you can fix it up. And in 3 to 4 years, it's the house that you really, really wanted. And now you can depend on those raises that you planned on, those annual or quarterly bonuses that you're going to get, the commissions that you expect to come in. you're in the house that you can afford. And then as these things actually come in, now you can start to make the house your own. So some of the things you want to do to avoid being house poor is thorough financial planning. Before you start house hunting, create a detailed budget that we just talked about, and it will account for all of your income, all of your expenses, and all of your savings goals. And this is going to help you determine the maximum amount you can afford to spend on housing. There's nothing wrong with seeking professional advice. Consult a mortgage lender and a financial advisor. You want to assess your financial situation as it is, not as you plan it to be. And you're going to determine your borrowing capacity. Just because a lender says that, you could buy a house up to $350,000. That's only because your credit is good and they're basing that on your income. But they also base it on your debt to income as well. But there may be things that they're not seeing. So they're going to tell you can afford $350, but you might only be able to afford $275 or $250. So don't let that pre-approval letter start making you think crazy. You don't want to go outside your means because of a pre-approval letter. So a financial advisor and a lender can basically provide you guidance on finding a home that fits your budget and your lifestyle. Speaking of lifestyle, you want to consider your lifestyle. Evaluate your spending habits, identify areas where you can cut back. Do you really need all the streaming channels that's available? HBO, Showtime, Netflix, Hulu, Paramount Plus. Do you need all of that? Do you also need SiriusXM? Do you need to have all these Apple apps that are on your phone subscription? If you have an Apple phone, all right, you can go to the on your phone and you can search subscriptions. And I bet some of you have subscriptions that you didn't even know you were paying for because they're so small. They're $2.99 a month. $1.99 a month. This streaming channel is $4.99. That one's $3.99. And when you add that all up, you might find $150 of stuff that you could save. And now maybe you could afford a little bit more house because you getting rid of some of that stuff. How much do you dine out? Are you dining out weekly? So if I was to say, if you were to discover that you're dining out weekly, and every time you dine out, you and your other, you spend $120. That includes drinks. And you do that every Friday. That's like $600 a month. So maybe you could cut back. You don't go out every Friday. But now, if this is something you don't want to cut out of your life, that's money that you're going to have to consider when you buy your home. You know what? I want a smaller home. I want less home because I do not want to compromise our Friday night date night. All right. Entertainment expenses. I personally love going to the theater. There's something about watching a movie at home for me. And there's something about going to a theater and getting a bucket of popcorn and a water and watching it on the big screen. That's my relaxing time that I don't want to negotiate. I want to do that. So I have to consider that in my budget. And then I have friends that like to travel. I have friends that go to Aruba all the time. They go to Key West. They go to Jamaica, Puerto Rico. If that's what you love to do and you don't want to compromise it, then consider that in your budget. How much? And I would do that. If I'm going to do travel, I would do that on an annual budget. Like, how much do I spend on travel a year? If that number is $15,000, take that $15,000, divide it by 12. It could be, I don't know what the number is off the top of my head, $1,250 a month I need to save for my travel because I do not want to stop traveling. And then you can determine how much you can afford for your house. All right. What about exploring alternative financing options? FHA loans. What's your down payment assistance? There's a lot. Every municipality or county or city has some type of down payment assistance program. They're grants. You have to figure out where maybe you can get money. Some are income related. Some aren't. Some are just grants for urban development. They want to sell more homes in certain communities. So find out in your communities or your cities or towns that, where can I get money from to buy a house so that you can reduce your monthly mortgage payments and make that home ownership more affordable. You also want to be prepared for unexpected expenses. Set aside that emergency fund that we talked about, at least at a minimum $1,000. But if you can make it $1,500 to $5,000 to cover some of those unexpected home costs, home repairs, job loss even, it's going to help you to avoid relying on credit cards or dipping into your retirement, pulling money out of your 401k. You don't want to do that. So don't be house poor. There's ways to avoid it. There's money that you're just not considering. All right. So, because home ownership, it should be a source of pride and security. It shouldn't be a burden. If owning a home is a burden, then maybe you need to rethink it and start from ground zero. You may not want to do that. You want to prioritize your financial well-being. You want to make informed decisions, because you just don't want to be house poor. Excuse me. And let's enjoy the benefits of home ownership without compromising your financial stability. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this was your holiday version of Real Estate Happy Hour. A glass is empty, but toast to you all. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving and make the best of it. I'll talk to you guys on the other side next week. Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.
At Granger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.